Hello there. Before we get started on today's episode, I'd like to ask a short favor. If you're interested in either of the two books that I have written and am about to release, head on over to my website at theanxioustruth.com/books. There you can learn about both books, one of which is free, and you can get on my mailing list to be notified when each book is released and how you can get it. I would really appreciate that. Okay, let's get rolling. Okay, we're recording. What's up, everybody? Drew here, thatanxietyguy.com. Back with back with Billy, Anxiety United.
Bad guy.
In the UK.
Yes,
it's a bad
Anxiety
guy.
101.
The king of Anxiety 101. I like your scarf, dude.
Thanks, man.
You're looking
Snood. It's a snood.
It's a snood. Is that
Yeah.
Is that what we call a scarf in the UK, or is that like a brand
Well,
name?
no, it's like a loop. It's not a
loop.
scarf where it's just open ended. This is like a loop, a big loop thing.
Ah, okay.
It's technical, mate.
It is very technical. It's very fashionable. Next
Wow.
up, skinny jeans and a man bun.
Yes.
Do you have man buns over there?
Yeah, but
Can I
I
start
ain't,
hearing
got,
about the man
I ain't
bun?
got enough hair. Why do you think I wear a freaking hat? Jesus Christ.
Skinny jeans and the man bun.
Oh yes.
Yes. When you come over here, we'll hang out in Brooklyn, and that's all you're going to see.
Oh, really?
Skinny jeans, hipsters with skinny jeans and man buns. It's a good deal.
I have got a pair of skinny jeans.
All right.
But they're too skinny.
I have a pair of skinny jeans, but they actually belong to a woman. So, no, I'm
Ah.
kidding. If you're watching us and you're wearing skinny jeans and you have a man bun, sorry. Didn't mean to insult you.
Yeah, apologies for that.
Apologies
If
to-
I had enough hair, I would join you.
Apologies to the skinny jeans crowd. So, we didn't record last week. So we skipped a week.
Why didn't we?
Why didn't we record? We're just fed up with this whole thing.
Yeah.
Tired of you people, and you're going to hear about it today.
Complaining.
Kidding. No. Billy had
I had a bad back.
Bad back?
I woke up. It was, what was it, a week ago? It's a week today, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a week today, yeah.
Yeah, last Thursday I got up. Everything was fine. Came downstairs, just felt normal. No issues. I was making a drink, filling the kettle, and all of a sudden my back just, something happened. I don't know, froze. I could not move. So I was just stood in the kitchen and I couldn't breathe properly. It was making me panic because every time I breathed, it was obviously stretching.
Yeah.
And it was just bad. And like for a couple of hours, it was bad. I was on the brink of panic for probably 2-3 hours.
Ouch.
And I just lay in bed and didn't move. And then I sat downstairs and sat on the sofa for like 3-4 hours. So it was like a PS4 gamer's dream.
Yeah.
That was my excuse anyway.
We'll have to try and
But
find
yeah.
like a comfortable position to sit in where it doesn't hurt.
Yeah, try not to move, or move as little as possible. But then by the end of the day, it had eased a bit, and then the next evening, it had eased even more.
Yeah.
And now it's just normal. But I couldn't sit in this chair. That was the whole reason we were talking about that then.
Yeah,
The
can't sit,
podcast. I didn't want to sit here and do a podcast
That
and just be
happens.
constantly thinking about,
Yeah.
ouch.
Yeah, ouch.
So, yeah.
Yeah, no problem. You just sit there. I'll talk so you don't have to breathe.
Yeah, well, that's what usually happens.
You just sit there. Oh, that's terrible. Anyway, so we're back. We skipped a week. Sorry about that. We honestly, I think we're going to talk about social media today.
We are.
Let's talk about social media because it's excuse me. It's actually a pretty impactful thing for people in our situation, I think. And if you think about how, like, if you were dealing with this sort of stuff 25 years ago,
Yeah.
what did you do? How did you communicate with other people?
Where'd you get your
information, good or bad? So it's social media and the internet and that sort of stuff has had a huge impact, I think, on the way that these disorders have been approached.
I said to you just before we went live, the internet has pretty much ruined my life now.
You did say that is a strong statement, young man. Why don't you explain that?
Yeah. Well, it's just you can get everything. You can order takeaways. You can order taxis if you need to go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You can watch movies. You can talk to your friends. You can talk to imaginary friends, bots, if you want. You can watch videos. You can do whatever the hell you want. You can order freaking groceries off Amazon now. They've just introduced that here in the UK, Pantry.
Yeah.
So, what's the point? Why do we need to go out?
You don't?
For Christmas, I'm getting the PlayStation VR, and that is it.
And that's it. You're just going to
Bad back or not, I'm
sit on
done.
the sofa, and that's it.
Hell yeah.
There's no reason not to.
I can go bowling in my lounge. I've resigned to the fact.
I've been bowling. We had a couple of years ago with the kids the Wii.
Wii bowling, yeah.
Wii bowling.
It's good.
I bowled
Yeah.
in my living room. Yeah, sure. Haven't done that in a long time, but It's true. So I think there's a couple of different things that's happened in terms of not just social media, but the internet in general. Like, has it made, if you're in a situation where you're avoiding, and I know we're kind of expressly talking about like things like agoraphobia, people have a hard time leaving the house or just being out in like social situations and that sort of thing. Has it been the internet, not necessarily social media? Social media is a way to communicate with people, of course, but like you said, at this point, you can have your food delivered. You can have almost anything delivered. You don't, the reasons to have to leave the house are working from home, telecommuting.
Yeah.
Many more positions where you can work from home because you could be in the office. Somebody dials the office. You could be extension 17 on a beach. You don't have to be sitting in the office anymore. So
yeah. I said to you before we started, like that, like even with the exposure stuff and that, I'm finding it really hard to find things that I want to go and do.
Right.
So the only thing that I really want to go and do, and that I've not done for, I don't know, probably 2-3 years, is gone and watch my daughter dance.
Sure.
And that's the only thing that I really want to do. It makes me feel guilty when I don't. I'm missing out on, the progress that she's making and that.
Right.
But the only opportunity I'm going to get to do that is like probably March next year now. So I'm finding it difficult to. It's not about the courage. It's just like I don't want to go bowling. I don't want to walk up and down the high street at the moment. Like I've been out a couple of times this week and this morning, and we'll talk about that in a bit. And my experience yesterday going for breakfast and that. But it's just like I'm finding it difficult. I'm happy at the moment. I'm happy working. I'm working hard at home.
Yeah.
I'm going out when I need to. I take my son to college 3 times a week now. That's a 15-minute, maybe 20-minute journey there, 10 mile, and I'm not feeling any anxiety about any of the stuff. I'm getting the normal levels. Like, I don't mean normal as in high.
Right.
That's abnormal.
Right.
But I'm just getting like that underlying the thoughts and that. And that's all I'm experiencing at the moment, regardless of what I'm doing. Although I haven't pushed myself to walk around Walmart, but I don't want to at the moment. I don't know whether that's...
No, well, if you don't have a reason
thing.
to...
Yeah, that's it. When I can order it offline and it's more convenient,
absolutely.
I feel like, it's a real difficult balance to find. You've got to find the time to do it. You've got to need the motivation to do it. Plus, you know that you're going to feel freaky when you go and do it. When you can just go on the freaking internet, press a few buttons.
And it shows up.
Yeah.
I get it. I think...
It's difficult.
Convenience matters in a lot of ways, right? So there are many things that I buy online that I could, I'm out on the road, I could stop, and sometimes for me, sometimes it's that thing, well, I'd like to support a local shop if I could, like the mom and pop shop, but it's just so easy to just click a couple of, or on my phone. Like I'm just going to, what do I need? I just click a couple of things on the phone and boom, a day or two later, stuff just shows up. So,
like you've so many things freaking drive through now as well. Like we got drive through Starbucks here now.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
we do too.
Yeah.
I did not drive through to get this, by the way. I did get it with the car,
good.
yes.
Good.
Well, only because that Starbucks does not have a drive through, but otherwise I probably would have.
I was going to say, would you have driven through?
I have driven through a Starbucks. I don't really do Starbucks that much, but sure. You know what? I'm impatient. I'm a convenience guy.
It's a high, fast-paced world now, isn't it?
Yeah, I would totally. Anything that's faster, I'll take. In a way.
Yeah.
So I get that. So in some ways, for folks like us, the internet has been a boon, but the same way, it's been a little bit of an enabler. So we're talking about practical things like getting groceries delivered online and buying things and shopping online and working. I mean, the job that you do, being in the web design business, honestly, anxiety or not, many, many, many people, I would venture a guess and say that at least 50% of the people who are in that business work from home.
I would say so.
Why there's no reason not to.
Exactly.
A way. So
you don't need an office.
You don't need an office.
You don't need the overheads.
No. You're looking at it. There's the office. You're sitting in it right now.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I think in a way that job, you could be doing that business anywhere, and at home is just as likely as any other place. So you can't even look at it as well. And we get asked this all the time, like, well, what kind of job or what business can I be in where I'm not, I have to leave the house? Well, a lot of them now. And a lot of people do it not because they don't want to leave the house. They just...
I've thought about getting an office.
Yeah.
Me and my wife have spoke about it. Like, I should get an office. It'd help me. I'd be getting out. Yeah, but then I'd be worrying that I'm spending like £300-400 freaking £1 a month
sure.
on an office that is just pointless.
It depends on what it is. I think sometimes, we can talk about that for a second. Like, I could work for a long time. We were virtualized, so we didn't have an actual office for a while. We had the data center, but that's not people friendly, so we wouldn't really be there unless you had to.
Yeah,
be there.
yeah.
And like, when we had to get together, we would get together at a Starbucks or a Panera Bread or whatever, and that worked okay for a little while. But then it was like, we need a place to all be together. So, but there are times, admittedly, where like no one's around, I got a guy away, or whatever.
Yeah,
I know there's nothing happening in the office. It's really easy to just kind of like hang out in my office at home, just because it's easy. And I can't tell you the number of people that I interact with on social media that have nothing to do with anxiety. Just their businesses, they're writers. Everybody's a coach these days. It appears. Everybody's a mentor and a coach, but they're coaches and writers and consultants and social media gurus, and everybody's working from home, and I see the post every day like I managed to like take off my pajamas by 2:00 in the afternoon, and everybody's like making fun of themselves. It's become a thing.
It's good.
It's a
progress.
It's a thing. And my sister tells me all the time, like, she like, sure, stop talking about how you're working so hard, you're working in your PJs. She tells me that all the time.
Wow.
So anyway, I think there are practical things. You can't always look at it as like, well, I'm avoiding. Whether you wanted to go out or not, if your business you could be working at home anyway. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So there are good things and there are bad things. Let's talk about like interacting with other people.
I was going to bring this up. Yeah. Because
I've been a different animal too.
I've been a bit quiet in the group, like the Facebook group. What's the link again, just in case?
Oh, by the way, yes, the Facebook group. Look at the link in the description. I don't remember the.
Yeah. I'm not going to put it on screen this time. It took me about 3 hours to render the video just because of that. Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
So I've been a bit quiet on there, but I go through these phases, and I've spoke to Drew about it before, where I just feel like my whole entire existence is consumed by anxiety. So I'm in the groups, I'm looking at other people talking about it and watching their videos, and I know that we talked about that being a good thing last week, but sometimes I just get to the point where it's just too much, and I have to sort of step back, and I'm not even thinking about it. Like, I'm not making my own videos, and we didn't do the podcast last week, and it's been kind of refreshing to almost just do normal things. Like, me and my daughter made pancakes at the weekend. Like, that kind of stuff doesn't happen in this house.
Yeah.
I don't do stuff like that normally. Like, I've been having to go on the PlayStation whenever. I've had a few new jobs come in at work and stuff, and that's like, I haven't had new jobs come in for months. But it feels like the more attention that I've put into that, like, I'm reaping the benefits. I don't know whether it's, I don't know, the law of attraction or whatever. Yeah. But sometimes I have to step back, and I think that can possibly be detrimental with the social media stuff when you just get so consumed with it all. Maybe. I don't know whether you've ever felt like that, where you've actually felt good and then you've gone into it a bit too much, and it's just made you start feeling maybe some of the feelings and stuff.
I know that my approach to social media might be a little bit different. Lately, I've been a little bit more active in places like Facebook, but for business reasons more than anything else. And I think what I hear people, here's how I'll answer this. What I hear people say a lot, and it's not restricted to people who are dealing with anxiety issues, but what I hear people talk about a whole lot is, I have to step away from Facebook or Instagram or Twitter because it makes me feel bad. And just regular, normal people who don't have anxiety issues say this kind of thing all the time. It makes me feel bad. And I think it makes people feel bad a lot of times because, in many ways, like, social media is like a highlight reel for people's lives.
Obviously, yeah, there was one of the creators of Facebook was talking about this sort of stuff the other day, saying that that's what they prey on, the fact that people want to reach the levels of all these other people that are showing this fantastic, perfect life.
Yeah.
And that's what Facebook's about.
And I think a lot of social media, Instagram and everything, if you really look for a second, and I've heard people say this, I've never experienced this myself, and I think it just depends on the type of person you are, but social media sometimes makes people bad because you see all this amazing life that other people seem to be living, and it makes people feel bad. And I think people in our situation are not immune to that also.
I think if you were to watch somebody walk down a high street, like with the group maybe, and you see that and you see them doing well, sometimes there can be bitterness towards them because you can't do that.
Yeah.
That can have an effect. I'm not like, that's not something I've always thought that it was brilliant to see somebody do that. But if there's people that really, they're struggling to open the front door and they see somebody walking down the street, it can have a negative effect, I guess.
Exactly.
So I don't know, what have we created?
It's such a strange thing because,
Shit.
on one side we can get a bunch of people who are dealing with this, together in one place and get in the group. It's awesome. I'll say it again,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
and it's awesome because you get to root each other on and share stories and successes and give each other tips and pointers and all the good things. But there are bad things, I guess, that can come along with that too. And I think so it could make you feel kind of bad when you see other people. And so, all right, we're talking about our little maybe Facebook group, which is fine. But then when you're out of that group and you're on the rest of Facebook, you're on Instagram, you're whatever. Like how many like heavily photoshopped and filtered selfies can you look at?
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
how come everybody looks like they just walked out of a freaking magazine? And I look like this with this horrible light on my face and the clouds and like this is real life. And
Yeah, yeah.
if you're so inclined, that could make you feel really bad in a lot of ways. But the good thing is you can communicate. But that's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. So if you're having a hard time, you have social anxiety, or you're having a hard time getting out and being around, well, you can maintain relationships. And I think maybe 7-8 years ago I would have said, sort of relationships. But you know what? I've come to the realization that these could be real relationships.
Yeah, yeah. I
I
think so.
mean, you and I have never met, but I genuinely consider that you are a
Yeah,
friend
yeah.
of mine. I mean, we've not sat in the room together, but we do this. And
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
yeah, you know what I
Definitely.
mean? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
these are real relationships. People that I know, and whatever, you guys are my friends, like actual friends. I will
Yeah,
say
yeah.
that now.
100%.
Yeah, but in the same vein, it's a negative because, well, maybe I don't have to go out or I don't have to confront my social
Yeah, yeah.
anxiety. I could just be friends online.
Mm.
So what do you do with that? How do you deal with that?
I think the problem is that more and more people are doing that, aren't they? Like my son on PlayStation, he's got friends in America,
Yeah,
and he's desperate to come over to your
yeah.
side of the pond,
Come on
and meet
over.
up with his friends and that. But I'm sitting here thinking it's never going to happen. Like I'd rather he made real friends, and
know.
it might happen. I'd love it to happen for him.
Yeah,
But it's just like, let's be realistic. He hasn't got a job. He can't be asked to freaking brush his teeth half the time. You ain't going to be asked to get on a
get on a plane and fly
Yeah,
to New
yeah.
York. Yeah, I hear you.
find accommodation, get a job, or whatever he needs
Sure,
to do.
sure. Pay for the ticket. It's not
Yeah,
cheap.
yeah.
And I think that's so funny though, because for him and my kids too. I have great kids, but so my girls are 17 and 15 as of this video, and
Yeah.
they have grown up in a different situation. So you and I grew up where we had real friends, but that seems like a derogatory term. Like I don't mean to diminish the relationships people
Yeah,
have
yeah,
online.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But we didn't have those. I had actual friends. I went out and played as a kid, and we hung out on the street and shot hoops and played football and did all the things that you did. And now you don't have to do that. So my kids,
Yeah, yeah.
they socialize in school and they socialize. They run track, and so they're friends with the kids on the track team. And my other daughter is musical, so she has her friends in the orchestra and that sort of stuff. But most of their interaction happens, here on these devices.
Yeah, yeah. And
so-
you've got to wonder what the future of like social anxiety,
A little
because the
bit.
numbers are increasing already.
Yes,
Like, what's the next generation going to be like? Especially if the VR stuff takes off.
I know. It's crazy, right?
It's pretty scary when you think about it like that.
I have a friend of mine who has spent a fair amount of time doing the VR thing. Like, what's the name of the thing? Second Life.
What was we talking about?
Okay, we had to stop the recording. Things got bad on the Skype call, so we're back. We were actually talking about
Second Life.
Second Life. Like, what is the internet going to do for people who have social anxiety? Anyway, my friend was heavily involved in this thing called Second Life, and I mean, it's literally like it's like people who play Warcraft or the role playing games where you're living in this actual world of this universe, but it's not really that. You're just kind of interacting with other people who are inhabiting that world. It's fascinating to me, but I think that what is this going to do for people? It's a double-edged sword. So
Yeah.
if you have social anxiety and you have a problem making connections with people in person, it makes you anxious. Well, the internet and social media is good because maybe you get to do that without having to confront your anxiety, which we can argue is a good or bad thing, but you may be able to expand your social circles. But on the flip side, it's even more isolating in a way, I think.
I would agree.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
even for people who don't have social anxiety, I would bet that this will increase. If I had to roll the dice, I would say for people like my kids' generation, your son's generation, social anxiety may be on the rise because if all you ever do is interact with your thumbs, or through a phone screen or a computer or whatever the hell it is, when you get into real social situations, there's that awkwardness.
I think so.
You don't actually learn how to
Yeah,
interact.
like my son's already like that. Like he won't go in places. Like we wanted a McDonald's the other night. We'd already eaten, and
Right.
he was late home, and he wanted a McDonald's, so I took him. But I said, if like the queue's crazy at the drive-through, then you'll have to go in. And he was flapping about it. And like he doesn't have anxiety.
Sure.
It wasn't an anxiety issue.
Doesn't matter.
It was just like it was more of a social issue. Like
Yeah.
he didn't want to see somebody he knew. Well, why? Surely you'd want to, if you see someone you know, you want to say hello. I mean, that's how I was before my own issues.
Right.
I would
Right,
rather go in there.
I would want to run into one of my friends or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I don't know what that is. There's I think when you communicate electronically, you're off the hook for a lot of things. That
Yeah.
the possible conflicts face to face could be uncomfortable, and feelings get taken out of the equation. But then so on the other side, then when you're face to face, you're confronted with all those things. And I know that for my kids, we've had a couple instances when the kids were younger, especially, where I had to. Like I follow them on Instagram and all that stuff, and especially when they were younger and first getting into it, and they would have conflicts with their friends, which is bound to happen.
Yeah, yeah.
And they would play them out online, and I had to stop. Like, you can't. This is not where you do that.
Yeah, my daughter's that.
Yes, right.
Oh,
If you have a
God.
problem with this person, then you do not take it out on Instagram
Yeah.
or Twitter or whatever.
And everybody else gets involved.
Exactly.
And,
You
dang.
speak to them when you see them in school tomorrow, and you work it out face to face, and it might be uncomfortable for a couple of minutes, but that is how you do this. And really had to like drag them into that. Like, you don't you don't do this.
Do you think it's perhaps like you can hide your emotion behind Instagram, behind Facebook?
Yes.
If you're talking to people on headsets and stuff,
Yeah.
they can't see your reactions to
Exactly.
stuff, and so that's what it's about. And then when you go and face them in the real world, and they see,
Yeah.
and you can see them and the way they're reacting, and it's just
Yeah.
completely different, perhaps, to what you expected, maybe.
You know what? That's why I always say all the time, the comment section is my favorite part of the internet.
Yeah.
And hang on. So the comment section is my favorite part of the internet, and because people are, sometimes it is my favorite part because discussion could be good, but people who don't have to see reactions, who can be on phones and keyboards and behind screens, like, you get really
Keyboard
brave.
warrior.
Keyboard
Yeah,
warriors, you get really brave. And I think that silliness that we see in people that we might call trolls and laugh about, it does influence how you behave online. Like, people will say stuff online that they would never say face to face. I know you will never say that to me, but you'll type it to me. So,
Have you been trolled?
have I been trolled? I have to say, I don't engage enough to probably be trolled. I will admit.
I have.
Yeah.
I have in the past.
You've been trolled?
Yeah, and it really pisses me off.
Yeah.
I probably shouldn't admit that because people will probably do it. But yeah, I have this thing. It just really, when I've said to you, like, I've got 2 dislikes on a video.
Yeah.
So feel free to hit the dislike button if you want. But it's like, that really gets my goat, man.
To dislike.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
We had
If you don't like it, just fuck off. Don't watch it. That's my opinion. Sorry.
That's okay. I'm with you on that. I think for
yeah.
me, let me think about this. How do I approach that? The trolling thing or getting into
I'm getting
arguments
trolled
online.
this week.
Completely. We're going to be, the place will be rife with trolls now. I think I don't care enough. Maybe that's, I hate to say that, but it's true.
Yeah.
With somebody that's going to express an opinion, you can express a different opinion to me. That's fine. And I might try to have a reasoned discussion with you. And I've gotten into a few of those here and there on different topics, but in terms of trolling, I don't think maybe I just don't notice it because I don't care enough to notice or something. But it was funny.
Remember when I had my old channel? Because I had Billy Wiz. That was my old YouTube channel.
Yes, that's
so
how I met you.
I deleted that because of a troll. But it was actually a really positive thing because he was trolling, saying like, "Stop making the videos, just get out there and do this." And I guess that I took his advice in the end.
Yeah.
I stopped making videos and just got out there in the end, and that was when I had my real growth spurt, man. That was when I was out doing stuff.
Yeah.
So it did help.
So it helped. Yeah, the troll actually helped you out. That's not a bad thing. We had I did one with a video with Holly over the weekend, and one person, we got a bunch of nice comments, which we always do, and one person commented that either me or Holly, I guess it was Holly, I'm not sure, like, it was very distracting because we kept using the word like. And for that split second, I want to say, like, this is what you bring to the discussion. Like, it disturbed you that she said the word like too much. So, and what's so funny about that is that's a discussion along the topics of what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
I approve the comment. Fine, let the comment sit there. Somebody could jump on them if they want. I'm not gonna. I don't care. But I'm not gonna disapprove the comment. It could be there. It doesn't bother me. But that's a discussion that would probably never happen in real life. That person would never walk up to Holly and say, you say like too much. It's very disturbing to me. It's very distracting. Would never say that. Could you imagine what a ridiculous exchange that would be? So I think there's so many everything that we do online with social media and the internet, for people like us especially, is a plus and a minus. It could be enabling and it could make things worse for us, or and used correctly, there's no correctly, but used judiciously, it could be a real benefit. So how does it, like you said that if you get too deep, it just starts to become all consuming.
Yeah.
So it gets hard for you to disengage, or are you getting trolled right now?
No, it's my son. My son's got to nip back. He's got to nip home and pick his bag up. So he's asking if we're doing a podcast because he doesn't want to knock the door. So I might have to pause you in a minute.
That's fine. No worries. That's so funny. So when you say it gets all consuming, like it eats up too much of your time, or this is so ridiculous. This is real life. Like I said, it's a reality TV right here.
This is it. This is it. I'm not being ignorant. If I'm looking down, I'm just...
No, it's all right. You got to take care of what you got to take care of. My phone's ringing. You get your son coming home. It is what it is. People get to look in on all this.
Oh, dear.
So what becomes all-consuming about it? Why do you have to step away?
I feel like I'm thinking about it too much, whether I'm thinking about what I can do to try and better myself, or maybe thinking of what advice I could give, or,
Yeah.
It just feels like I'm constantly thinking about trying to resolve a situation, perhaps. It's like with the exposure stuff, I'm trying to think of what it is that I could do.
Yeah.
When I don't particularly want to do it. So it almost becomes forced. I force myself to think about a situation that I really don't want to think about.
That makes sense. That actually makes sense.
Mm.
I think all-consuming. The only time I think that it ever really became all-consuming for me, when I was going through the situation where I had stopped taking the antidepressants 10 years ago or 12 years ago, and I got involved in a forum of people who were in the similar situation, that became almost all-consuming. And it became, but it became a safe place, so I understand. Like for me, it became like a refuge. I could go there and interact with other people who understood, and see who was doing what, and listen to their successes, or just bitch and moan if I had to, I guess.
Yeah.
And I can remember many times, like sitting at my computer, whether it was in my office or at my house or wherever I was, thinking, "What am I doing here?" Like I would just keep going back over and over to the forum, keep going back. So. And then you'd run out of new posts. So, like, well, all right, there's been nothing new in the last 8 minutes, so I guess I'm going to have to figure out some other way to occupy my mind. So I guess it could be an escape for somebody. But then if it becomes, like, if it's driving too much, or it makes you think about your anxiety all the time.
Yeah, that's where I find myself.
Yeah, that's
I've done in the past. Like when I first started my Anxiety United stuff, I was actually in a really good place.
Okay.
And the reason that I set the whole thing up was because I wanted to, like you, give something back.
Sure.
Because of all the help that we'd given each other, I wanted to try and offer that to someone else.
Yeah.
But all it really did was just brought it all back to my attention, and then I started noticing when I was feeling weird again.
Yeah.
And obviously, because I'm talking about anxiety all the time, that's what I'm putting everything down to. And then it just escalated and escalated. So that was a bad thing for me.
Yeah. It puts your focus right on it.
Yeah.
So I think the best advice we could probably offer people in this situation is, like, we keep telling people join the Facebook group and get involved in the discussion, but don't spend too much time. You can't, and I think that's true. If you're going to move forward with this sort of stuff, you cannot let it become the only thing that you're thinking about all the time. Because that's part of the problem. When you're constantly focused inward, things go badly.
That's the point, isn't it? Yeah.
So in a way, you got to focus outward, and focusing outward on what other people are doing can be therapeutic and helping other people, but you're still focused on the topic. You know? So even if you're, join the group and get into discussion and share your exposure videos and do all that stuff, and then do something else.
Join another group.
Right. If you can't get out,
or photography,
or something,
stamp
or cooking, or stamp collecting. Wow, I haven't heard that in a long time. I used to have a stamp collection when I was a kid.
Wow.
Yeah.
I used to smoke weed when I was a kid. That's how different we are.
I mean, I'm telling you, I was a kid. I was like sixth grade, which you may have been smoking weed in sixth grade. I can't say.
No, it's a bit later than that.
We don't judge here. It's a judgment-free zone. It's okay. So,
yeah.
So I don't know. I think I'm trying to keep us from just being. This is quickly turning into like a shock jock radio show. So I think that the takeaway in the discussion here, and I guess we're not going to go for an hour today, which is fine, is use the internet, use social media for all the good that it can do for you. But I think you got to be aware of the potential negatives, which is enabling the disorder, enabling avoidance, enabling avoiding social situations. Don't let it be that. So let it be support. Let it be information. Oh, let's talk about information for a second, because this is a huge pet peeve of mine. I'm going to wave my coffee stirrer at the camera. This is how strongly I feel about this. I don't even know what this is. Is it a snowman? I don't know. Anyway, yes. So let's talk about information. So it's not just interacting with people or ordering dinner and having it delivered. There's also a huge, it's anybody who can fog up a mirror. You got a pulse, you can publish something on the internet. There's no test. There's no competency test, right? So you can't drive a car unless you prove to some municipal employee here that you know how to drive a car. But on the internet, you could say anything you want. There's no license required, right? So when you're doing your research, and I'm going to put that in air quotes because it's a dubious distinction sometimes, when you are searching for information, especially when you're in symptom mode, let me Google racing heart. Okay, I think we can agree that there's probably some fairly reputable sources that we can all agree are decent. So the Mayo Clinic or WebMD, although I've seen some crackpot shit on WebMD, I ain't gonna lie. You have to consider, I think one of the most important things that you could do for anybody, whether you're dealing with anxiety issues or not, is learn to become a critical consumer of information. So let's be realistic here. And because I have seen the gamut in the 10, 12 years that I've been dealing with the stuff online, of people who go looking for things that will help them or make them feel better. And some of the stuff that you come up with is completely and utterly insane with no basis in reality. And look, I will tell you right off the top that I am firmly rooted in science. I believe that the scientific method got us out of the dark ages, and this is how we stand on the shoulders of the people who have come before us. And so, yes, I am biased. I believe in the scientific method. It's slow, it's painful, it doesn't give us immediate results, but it works. So when you find some website from some dude who, I don't know, he's got an honorary degree from Reiki University, which is also some guy's basement. You have to dig a little bit and find out what's going on. Well,
but we got a certificate for that.
I got a certificate for that, right? And I think you have to understand. Here's what kills me too: you understand the rules of logic and try and apply them. So know what a straw man argument is, know what logical fallacies are, know what all these things, because they matter when you're making decisions about your health and your recovery based on things that you read online. The biggest problem that I see, and feel free to chime in at any time here, because now I'm just ranting, is just if you got two guys in an argument, just because guy A is wrong doesn't mean that guy B is right. They can both be wrong. They can both be wrong, and it's the single biggest pitfall I see everybody go into. Well, I tried this medication my doctor gave me, made me feel horrible, so therefore all natural things are good. It must be good because it grows on a tree. Well, that's wrong. The tree could be just as wrong as the pill that comes out of a lab. And who's the source? Not just Western medicine has things to sell. So do supplement companies, herb companies, food companies. Everybody has something to sell. Books, coaching services, whatever it is. So you got to really be a critical consumer of information when you're doing your research to try to find things that will help you.
I mentioned sort of something along the same lines as what we're talking about here in the video that I've just done today. So you'll have seen it already, hopefully.
Sure.
When this goes out, but the stuff that I've done in the past, tried exercising for a bit and healthy eating for a bit and getting more sleep and vitamin B here and there and doing a bit of yoga and stuff.
Right.
But what I find with that kind of stuff is that it works for a time, but there seems to be a point where I'll have a setback and then I'm back to square one, and then it's what was the point in taking 50 million magnesium supplements for the last 300 years?
Right.
The only thing that seems to have, and this could all change tomorrow if I have a bad day, but the drop in the caffeine thing, I'm a real advocate for that, because it's actually made a change in me. It's made me feel different.
Yeah.
And since then, like, I have felt different. And I'm not taking anything.
Right.
I've just taken something away that was perhaps adding to the way that I was feeling.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think there's nothing wrong with that. If you find something that makes you healthier or makes your life better, that's great. There's nothing ever wrong with that.
If you've got a food intolerance or something and you stop eating that food,
Sure.
you're going to feel better.
You're going to feel better, right? And then those are real things. Those are absolutely real things. I'm not saying that they're not real. I just
What we're talking about, taking or rubbing something on your skin or sniffing a lavender flower up your
right,
Buddha.
or anything.
You know?
And some of those things, I'm not going to say they're harmful. It doesn't hurt to try them, I guess. But sometimes I feel like it does hurt to try things when you are in a desperate mode and you keep trying different things based on what you read on the internet, and you're not critically consuming that information. What's the source? Where did it come from? What's that person's agenda? What are they trying to sell? What axe do they have to grind? You know, and so if you're going to keep jumping from remedy to remedy to remedy to remedy, you will, that level of disheartenment will start to rise, and you start to feel like you're in this endless pit that you can never get out of. Nothing works. I've heard people say, I've tried everything and nothing works. And so you just have to be careful, because just because it's on the internet doesn't make it true.
I think you said a while back, like, say if it's CBD oil or something like that, and like you're relying on it, and when you haven't got it or you can't get hold of it, and then it becomes an issue, that has then become a safety behavior, hasn't it? It's become a crutch.
It has.
And that's not the idea.
Or you can be masking your symptoms. So just the same way that antidepressants, well, we'll talk about this one day, or I'll do a video on this, but you know, I spent 9 years taking antidepressant. I didn't have panic attacks, but it didn't fix anything. So and it had a lot of side effects, and there's always side effects with anything you put in your body, whether it's natural or otherwise. Natural doesn't guarantee safe or awesome. Yeah. And it didn't do anything. It just masked my symptoms. So you can mask your symptoms all day long with CBD oil or magnesium or whatever. You know, it can happen. But in the end, lasting improvement doesn't come from just masking your symptoms. It comes from learning to not care about them. And I will believe that wholeheartedly. That's why I'm here on video. Otherwise, I wouldn't be talking. But I think more than anything else, I just have a problem with, and I hate to see people get suckered into bad information, spend money on things they don't need to spend money on things, and just be discouraged more and more and more because I tried this, it didn't work. I tried this, it didn't work. I tried this, it didn't work. Well, you know, just see what's the source of this thing that you're trying. Yeah. And the other thing that I'll throw out before I stop my little mini rant here on being a critical consumer of information is common sense. And actually, there's a really good TED Talk on this. I'll see if I can link it. And I think the title of the talk was "Common Sense Isn't Always Common." Or common sense doesn't always make sense. What we think is common sense is often wrong. Like our common sense is not a good argument for like what is valid. Well, that's common sense. Well, common sense isn't always right because common sense oversimplifies in many ways. There's tremendous amount of bias, experience bias that goes into common sense. And the other thing that we wind up doing is we take overly simplistic approaches to things like anthropomorphizing bodily functions. My adrenal glands are tired. Like glands don't get tired. They don't understand what tired is. Or the toxins are retreating deeper into my cells. Well, toxins don't know how to retreat. They're not afraid. They're either in your cell or not in your cell. And is there even a toxin? And so I'll throw this out there while I'm ranting. If the word detox is in the solution you're after, then run the other way. Save your money. You know, so if you want to spend 3 weeks doing nothing but drinking juice, that's fine. Just don't go far from a bathroom because that will be the effect. But you're not detoxing anything. Like our bodies have been built over millions of years of evolution to take care of their own crap. Detox, there it goes. So now
feel better already.
Now I'm just ranting. I just hate to see people go down.
No, it's interesting what you said though. Like
alleys.
To learn to drive, you have to prove yourself to a qualified instructor. Anybody can.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can write 2,000 words. We get done. I'm going to write 2,000 words in about 18 minutes because I'm a really fast writer.
And we'll sell it for $69.99.
On the most ridiculous thing ever. I am going to come up with something, and it'll sound good. I'll make it sound like it's really good, too. And you know what? I'm not the only one that can do that. People do it all the time. Sometimes they do it because they're trying to swindle you, and sometimes they do it just because they truly believe it, you know. If you say it enough times, it's not a lie. So.
How to effectively destroy trolls. That can be the
Yes, or you know,
$59.99.
I'll write something
ebook.
anxiety related, and I'm gonna attribute anxiety to, you know what the problem is? Scissors, dude. Scissors, cutting paper. It's the motion and the sound. It triggers. It messes with your GABA access in your brain. It does. I'm telling you.
Toxins.
The toxins just build up when you cut paper. Everybody knows this. All right. Anyway, now I'm just getting stupid. So there you go. So have we exhausted? This is so off the cuff. This is the most off the cuff one we've ever done.
Yeah. We've been random here.
Easily. We had to stop in the middle. It's all good. So
I'm happy. I'm enjoying it.
yeah.
I needed this. I needed this in my life.
It's just a little chat. That's all. That's what we're doing. I'm recording it.
It was about the internet, weren't it?
It was
originally?
about. If you asked me what did you podcast on today, I'm not sure I'd be able to tell somebody.
The internet ruined my life, but you can watch this video on the internet.
Oh, the irony. All right, well, we'll have a better one next week. I'm sure we'll come up with a better topic next week than just watching us.
Well, I've done my first vlog in ages this week.
Awesome.
So
I will watch it
I
when
don't
we're
know.
done.
Yeah, I don't know whether I'll start doing it again. I don't know. I said before we started that I'm just trying to enjoy my life at the minute. I'm trying not to make it all about recovery. I'm trying to not make it all about anxiety. I'm trying to do things that I'm enjoying, that make me smile, and that's hopefully going to have a crossover effect. It seems like it is, because I've done more things. Like last time we did a podcast, I was doing the hospital run with my dad.
Yeah, I remember.
Because we haven't spoke since then, have we? And that went absolutely fine. There was nothing. There was loads of traffic at the hospital, and I parked in a different car park.
Right.
Like I parked on a retail park. But I was only there like 20 minutes, and I started filming, and I was sitting there talking, and then like my dad rang, and it was like, oh, it's over already. There ain't no point in filming this. Nothing has happened.
Nothing has happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. We want nothing to happen.
It is. It's good. It doesn't make good viewing, but I'd rather not have to make videos.
Right.
If I'm honest, I'd rather just get on with it.
You know, that's probably fair. I think in the end, you know, it's all great to go out and film your exposure and share and everything, but the ultimate goal is to not ever have to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I will say, as somebody who'd spent a lot of time doing that back in the day when we first met, I'm kind of happy that I don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, that's the deal.
More praise to you then for actually taking the time to, you know, you don't have to do this shit now.
Oh, I like doing
you
this.
choose to. Yeah, I know, but it's good.
Yeah.
Because there's not many people out there that many people don't go back on forums when they're recovered.
That's true.
Know?
That's true.
And
We
share their
say that all the time. The antidepressant forum, we used to say that all the time. People only come on when they're in trouble.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Because the people that are past it are now past it. The internet has no longer ruined their life.
That's true. So I think, for me, I don't know. It's just, there's a lot of crappy stuff.
Because when I'm better, you won't see me.
You're out. I will be gone. There's nothing but dust left behind. Tumbleweeds will be me talking to an empty chair.
If you turn the camera a bit, I'll be outside Drew's window there. I'm vaping.
Yes. I'll be Skyping with your empty chair, and you'll be standing outside my window. Vaping. Very nice. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. As always, we'll be back next week with hopefully something a little bit more cogent and coherent. But once in a while, we're going to do one of these where we just chat for a while. So.
Yeah, it's a breath of fresh air.
And after all the griping about the internet that we did, I'll remind you to join the Facebook group because it's a good group. We'll put the link in the video descriptions. And I guess we're supposed to say, like the video, subscribe, share.
Yeah, well, you can dislike it if you want.
Do whatever you want. It's okay.
I'm not going to let it bother me. Let's do a test.
Nice.
Let's go for 20 dislikes.
As many dislikes as we get. See how Billy goes off the deep end. All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in.
Ta-da.
See ya. Hey, what's up, guys? Drew here. In the 5 years that I've done the podcast, I've never had a sponsor. But now it's time for me to put in a little plug for the day job, the business that I own. And that business is Managed WordPress Hosting. So if you have a website and it runs WordPress, and you'd like WordPress hosting that makes WordPress faster, more secure, and way easier than you ever imagined it would be, then check out Helix. You can find us online at imhelix.com. That's IAMHELIX.com. We took a long time to build Helix. I'm super proud of it. It works spectacularly. We take really good care of our customers, and I promise we would take really good care of you too. So if you're in the market for WordPress hosting that will blow your mind, check out Helix. I would appreciate the consideration. I thank you for coming by and listening, and I'll see you the next time.